Me, 30-year-old female, and my husband, 29-year-old male, have been trying to get pregnant for over a year, and it finally happened back at the end of October. I am beyond happy and excited to be on this journey again, with the exception of one part, having to tell my sister, 37-year-old female. My older sister has been on the same trying to conceive journey for as long as we have. This would be her first. She seems to finally be getting some medical help to support her, but still has yet to have success. I want nothing but for this to happen for her, as I know she would be the best mother. To make this harder, the day I found out I was pregnant, she told me she had a chemical pregnancy. Our due dates would have been a week apart. My heart sank so hard that day. I don't know what to do. I will be 12 weeks on Christmas and plan to tell my parents that day since we will all be together. I'm just not sure that would be a great day to tell her. I'm not sure I want to tell her after either, as her birthday is a few days later. Do I tell her now and let her be the first to know so it doesn't dampen her holiday? I keep trying to put myself in her shoes, but I'm not sure how to go about this. Any advice on how and when I should do this? I know she will say she is so happy to have another niece or nephew, but I know this is going to hurt deep down. Thank you for all your comments. One small addition is that she is out of town and will not be making it for Christmas this year. Our Christmas celebration is only my husband, daughter, and our parents. Now for an update. Let me start by saying thank you all for all of your comments, and my heart goes out to all of you currently struggling with infertility. Well, I told her today. I asked her if we could talk when she got home from work. Her response was yes, and the next message was, "Are you pregnant?" I, of course, said yes, and her next message was wanting to have a video chat. We talked for a little, and she was very excited and all smiles. She knows we have both been struggling and is happy for me and my husband. I let her know that she doesn't have to feel that way. I would understand, as I'm sure it's bittersweet. She continued to push that idea off and reassured me this is something she is happy to hear. Thank you to all who suggested I tell her first. She loved that it's our little secret. We also talked about her new prescription, and she seems very optimistic for the future. I don't know how I got so lucky to have such a wonderful sister. I love her and hope that next month will be her month. I am still very understanding that she may not be as excited for me as she conveyed, and honestly, I don't expect her to be, as I'm not sure I would be if I were in her shoes. I am accepting that this excitement could very well be fake, and I am okay with that. I just honestly wish there was something I could do to make this easier for her. I, of course, plan to leave any baby talk to zero unless she specifically asks. Thank you all again for sharing your experiences and suggestions. I know this can be a very touchy subject. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Hey sis, I wanted to let you know that husband name and I are expecting. You're the first person we've told, and we chose to do so via text to avoid making you uncomfortable if we announce to the family in person. You're welcome to tell her husband's name, so you both can work through it together. I know it's been hard for you both on your own fertility journey, and we're always here to support you if you need. If you're feeling down and need to set any boundaries for the time being, let me know, sis. I love you. Comment 2. As someone going through in vitro fertilization now, I'd personally 100% prefer a text. Even a phone call sometimes can feel like pressure to have a reaction. She can always call you after the text if she feels up to talking more. You are sweet for thinking of her feelings during this. Now, for the update. A few weeks after the video chat, my sister Emma said she'd be visiting for her birthday. Not gonna lie, I was feeling a little uneasy about it. I mean, we hadn't really talked since that whole thing with the store happened, and I was just hoping this visit wouldn't be a disaster. But anyway, I planned a small gathering with just family to celebrate. I figured it would be chill enough to avoid any awkwardness, right? Well, my parents got all excited to host Emma, which I guess was sweet, and they wanted to make it really special for her. I could tell they were trying their best to keep the mood up, but I just couldn't shake this feeling in my gut. So I decided to add some baby-themed decorations. I thought about it for a while and figured, why not? I could make them subtle enough that Emma wouldn't even notice them, just a little something to brighten the place up. Yeah, that was my plan. Emma arrived with a big smile on her face, and honestly, it was nice to see her looking happy. She brought a gift for me, and I was like, oh no, you didn't have to do that. But she insisted, and then I opened it up. It was a baby onesie. I mean, cute and all, but damn. During the celebration, Emma casually mentioned how she had been thinking a lot about starting a family again. She said it with this spark in her eye, and I was just hoping no one else caught that. We played some party games after that, and I swear Emma was fully in the moment. She was laughing and joking with everyone, and I felt like, okay, maybe we could all be normal again. After we had cake, I offered to take a family photo, wanting to capture the moment, you know? So we all got together, and Emma posed so happily, but then something shifted. I noticed that she looked a little distant when the baby onesie was in the shot. I was like, oh crap, and quickly changed the angle, trying to lighten the mood. I don't know if anyone else caught it, but I wasn't taking any chances. Later, Emma pulled me aside and asked if we could have a heart-to-heart outside. I had a feeling it was about to get real, so we stepped into the backyard. As soon as we were outside, Emma's expression shifted to serious, and I braced myself. She told me that she had been visiting a fertility clinic again and wanted to know if she could count on me for support if she needed help in the coming months. I agreed right away. I mean, I wanted to be there for her, but I was hoping we could do it without overshadowing my own pregnancy. A couple of days later, I started to notice Emma picking up more baby items during our shopping trips. I was like, okay, I guess that's the new normal. Then she invited me to a baby store, claiming it would be fun. I hesitated for a second, but knew she was trying to include me. So I agreed, even though I had a feeling it might be a challenging outing. At the store, Emma picked out a bunch of items and asked me for my opinion, which made me super uncomfortable. I mean, seriously? I suggested that we focus on items for her future plans instead, and she looked taken aback for a moment and went silent. The tension between us was crazy as we checked out, and I could cut it with a knife. It was just this awkward silence hanging in the air the whole time. Days later, I got a call from my parents, and they wanted to discuss Emma's feelings. When I heard that, I was like, oh no, what now? Apparently, Emma felt neglected and thought the family was focusing too much on my pregnancy. I was taken aback, to say the least. I mean, I was just trying to keep things light for her, but clearly I missed the mark. Then, during a family dinner, Emma confronted me about it. Like it was out of the blue, and all her frustrations came pouring out. The argument escalated so fast, and our parents tried to mediate, but honestly, it was like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. Emma stormed out after that, and I just sat there, feeling like I got hit by a truck. Weeks passed, and things were still icy between us. Emma continued to withdraw, avoiding family gatherings and pretty much everything else. I was just hoping we could figure this out, but it was like walking on eggshells. Then I got a message from Emma asking to meet privately, and I was like, here we go. We met at a quiet coffee shop, and she expressed her desire to make amends. I was relieved to hear that. We both agreed to try and patch things up, but it was going to take time. The situation escalated even further when she revealed that she was considering a major life change, like moving away for a fresh start. I was shocked, to be honest. We both agreed to keep communication open, and I just wanted her to be happy, even if it meant her being far away. After that meeting, I returned home, and it felt like we were on a long road to healing. Am I the idiot for wanting my husband to actually care about our marriage instead of just going through the motions? Laying in bed with my husband, we were both on our phones side by side for a while, and then stopped, him first, and he turned to me. I got off my phone and we started talking. I asked him if we could look up each other's love languages. We never explicitly talked about them before, and he immediately was dismissive and said, well, we all know yours isn't physical touch. I was like, why did you feel the need to say that? That was a rude and unnecessary jab when I'm literally trying to connect with you. I went on to say that our poor communication is a real concern for me, and sometimes the things he says to me are toxic. He said, if I'm the toxic one, you're the negative one. How does that feel? Not good, right? I clarified that I'm not saying he's toxic, but some of the things he says are. Then he goes on to twist the conversation to the subject of needing more intimacy from me and how we've talked about it before, but I'm not showing that commitment to him. That's when I told him I need to feel an emotional connection in order to feel sexually connected to him. He did not understand that concept at all. He said, so it's a condition. You need me to do that list with you, created by who even knows, the 5 love languages, in order to want to be intimate with me. I said no. That's not what I said. I need to have an emotional connection to want to be intimate. We haven't been emotionally connected. He doesn't need that, or seem to think it's even a common thing. The entire argument, he just kept drilling down that I won't be intimate with him, and I kept trying to explain that me asking about the 5 love languages was me attempting to connect and get to intimacy. I explained how worried I am for us and our communication and started crying, and he said, "Don't be dramatic," so immediately dismissive. I said, "Can you really see 35 more years of this, the way we currently communicate?" And that's when he starts to tear up and say yes. He sees 35 more years, and we have a wonderful life with a great little girl, and we are so lucky. And he says it's not like he yells at me or calls me names, and it's not like he's out drinking or doing other things. I told him I'm not going to congratulate him for not harassing me, which is the bare minimum. I'm not going to congratulate him and thank him for being home with his family, which is the bare minimum. He says I'm focusing on the negative 10% and not seeing the amazing 90%. I told him being able to communicate in a healthy way in a marriage is the 90%. He doesn't agree. The entire conversation, he dodged any responsibility or any semblance of accountability. In fact, he put it on me, saying since I'm the emotional one and he's the logical one, I should help him learn how to communicate better, relieving him of any growth on his part. Towards the end, he mentioned couples therapy so that maybe someone could help me understand his point of view. I truly don't think he expected me to say yes. We do need that. We do need a counselor because this is beyond us now. Some backstory. Been together for 12 years, married 7, have a 3-year-old. I think he definitely has an avoidant attachment style, and I don't think I can handle the way he communicates anymore. Is this divorce territory? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. John Gottman might be a good read. I also like Emily Nagoski. It is not okay for him to dismiss your feelings and say that emotional connection doesn't matter. Lots of people have responsive desire. He probably feels like emotional connection and vulnerability are too scary for him, so he delivers on physical touch and acts of service. He has to be as invested in making things work as you are. It's not going to work for you to teach him emotional intelligence if he's unwilling to actually practice it because it's scary for him. Comment 2. I had a similar conversation with my husband recently. I ended up asking him what he even likes about me, and all he could list were things I have done for him. I realized that he loves me for what I do, not who I am, and it's heartbreaking. I would try asking your husband what he loves about you to see if he even loves and values you as a person, and go from there. Now, for the update. 2 weeks passed since the whole love languages conv. I thought things might improve, but no idiots here. We were still stuck in the same old rut. We both agreed to try couples therapy. Honestly, I was just hoping for a miracle at this point. We scheduled our first session with a therapist who is supposed to be good at communication stuff. I have no idea if it would work or if we were just wasting time. My husband seemed indifferent as usual. He agreed to attend, but I could tell he wasn't really into it. Not even a little bit. So, the day of the first session rolls around. We had to arrive separately because of our crazy schedules, which was just perfect, right? I showed up 10 minutes late because, of course, there was traffic. Why wouldn't there be? The therapist asked us about our relationship history. It was like pulling teeth. My husband kept minimizing everything, focusing only on the positives. Like, dude, come on. We have real issues here. I shared specific instances of miscommunication, and it felt like I was talking to a wall. The guy just didn't get it. After the session, my husband straight up dismissed the therapist's suggestions. He acted like none of it applied to us. It was so frustrating. That weekend, we both agreed to go to a family friend's wedding. We figured it would be a nice distraction, even though I was kind of dreading it. At the wedding, we were seated at a table with friends and family. It was fine, I guess. But then my husband joked about our great communication skills in front of everyone. Like, really? You had to say that right now? I could feel my cheeks burning. During the reception, he spent a ton of time chatting it up with this one friend of his. I don't even know what they were talking about, but it seemed way more important than me. So I approached them and joined the conversation. As soon as I got there, my husband abruptly changed the topic. It was like I was invisible or something. Later, we had a huge argument about his behavior at the wedding. He claimed I was overreacting and ruining the fun. Fun? What fun? He accused me of always turning things into a problem, which just made me more mad. A few days later, he got a promotion at work. He was happy, and I was happy for him. He needed something to cheer him up, you know? But then he went out to celebrate with friends, leaving me feeling totally excluded. He promised we would celebrate together later, but he didn't follow through. Typical. That weekend, we attended a family dinner at my parents' house. I was kind of nervous about it, but it turned out okay. My parents were just happy to see us and their grandkid. During dinner, my mom asked about our plans for the future. It was a totally normal question, right? But my husband made this comment about being too busy for big changes. It wasn't a no, but it wasn't a yes either. After dinner, my dad mentioned a family trip coming up, and my husband just shrugged it off. No excitement, no enthusiasm. I couldn't help but feel disappointed. He finally suggested we just get through the therapy sessions. Just get through? Like it's some kind of chore? I didn't sign up for that. Edit. We had a second therapy session, but it was just as unproductive as the first. My husband continued to ignore the therapist's advice. He even said he didn't see the point of therapy. We eventually talked to the therapist alone, and she suggested seeing someone else. I'm considering it. Am I the idiot for secretly saving money to protect myself from my boyfriend's financial black hole? I've been with my boyfriend Jack, who is 30 years old, for 2 years now, and 2 months ago, we took the big step of moving in together. It's been a great experience overall. He's kind, thoughtful, and supportive, but I recently stumbled upon something that's been weighing on my mind. Jack has a younger sister, Emily, who is 26 years old, and a 3-year-old niece, and they're an incredibly tight-knit trio. I knew he cared deeply about them and helped them out financially here and there, but living together has revealed just how much he's involved in their lives, specifically how much he financially supports them. To my surprise, Jack pays their rent in full every single month. Emily and her daughter live in a modest 1-bedroom apartment, which isn't outrageously expensive, but still, it's a recurring expense that Jack shoulders entirely. Emily doesn't have a traditional job. She explained to Jack that working a regular job wouldn't cover daycare costs for her daughter, let alone the rest of their living expenses. She picks up small jobs here and there, like walking neighbors' dogs or baking cakes for friends and family, but it's nowhere near enough to sustain them. I feel blindsided. A while ago, Jack and I had a serious conversation about finances, our goals, savings plans, and how we'd split expenses. That's when I discovered that Jack has 0 savings. None. I was honestly floored. He's an engineer and earns a solid income, so I couldn't understand why he hadn't managed to put anything aside. That's when he opened up about just how much he's been contributing to Emily and his niece. Between their rent and other essentials, his paycheck is drained almost entirely every month, leaving little to nothing for himself. He told me this isn't forever. His hope is that once his niece is old enough to attend kindergarten, Emily might be able to work a stable job, and he won't have to keep covering their rent and other expenses. But that's still a couple of years away if everything goes according to plan. What if it doesn't? What if something changes, or Emily's situation doesn't improve, and Jack ends up supporting them for much longer than he's anticipating? I feel really conflicted. Jack is more than able to cover his share of our rent and utilities, so that's not the issue. But when it comes to anything beyond the basics, like dates, trips, or even building our future together, it's clear that most of it would fall on me financially. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I love how devoted Jack is to his family, but I can't help wondering where that leaves us as a couple. What happens if his financial commitment to them drags on for years, or if it starts affecting our ability to plan for our own future? I'm grappling with how to balance my admiration for his selflessness with my own feelings of frustration and uncertainty. This isn't a small thing. It's shaping the entire foundation of our future together. I want to be understanding, but I also don't want to feel like an afterthought when it comes to his financial priorities. Where do we go from here? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Okay, Jack and Emily have a 2-year runway towards kindergarten and employment. I'd ask whether Emily is actively doing things to make herself more employable in the fall of 2026. What sorts of daytime jobs, so she's not worried about childcare, would she be appropriate for? Are there certifications she can be working on in the evenings and during nap times? Comment 2. No, end it now. If he loses his job, who is he going to look to pick up his slack? He should have told you before you moved in together. He made a fool out of himself and you. His sister will never get a regular job. She will always be a burden on her brother. He has created that situation. It is not your responsibility to take on 2 other people. Now for the update. I'm back with another update, but I'm not sure how much it helped. It's been like a month since I spilled the tea on my issues with Jack and his sister Emily. Not much has changed, and all the stuff we need to talk about is still just hanging around. Like my dad used to say, a bad penny always turns up. That is, of course, if you know what a penny is nowadays. Anyway, Emily came back again, saying her car broke down. Jack was on a work call in another room, and I heard him agreeing to pay for the repairs. I confronted him right after the call, but he brushed it off like it was no big deal. He keeps saying this is just a temporary situation. Meanwhile, I've been keeping track of how much money he's sending Emily each month, and it's getting out of hand. Like, seriously. Things got pretty awkward at a family dinner we had for Jack's birthday. The whole family was there, including Emily and her daughter. She brought these homemade cupcakes, and I noticed her wearing new shoes, which made me raise an eyebrow. I mean, she's getting all this money from Jack, and she can afford new shoes? Jack complimented her shoes, saying they looked great, while I sat there feeling my blood boil. Then, during dinner, his family started talking about future family vacations, and I realized Jack wouldn't even be able to afford to take us on a trip. I tried suggesting a camping trip, which is usually cheap, but Jack shot it down and went back to focusing on Emily's needs. A week later, I found a Venmo transaction showing Jack sent Emily even more money than usual. I confronted him again about it, and we had a big fight. I told him I was worried about our plans as a couple and his financial priorities, but he just insisted that family comes first, always. He said he'd never abandon Emily or his niece. I decided to go to Emily's daughter's birthday party, thinking it would help close the gap between us. While I was there, I overheard Emily talking about a possible job opportunity out of state. She mentioned needing Jack's help with moving costs, and I felt this sinking feeling in my stomach. I went up to her afterward and asked if she was serious about the move, but she just laughed it off and said it was all just an idea. Still, I could tell there was something more to it. Later, Jack was all excited about the possibility, saying it would be great for Emily and her daughter. I couldn't take it anymore, so I started looking for a job that could offer me better stability. I found one that paid a lot more, and I applied without telling Jack. He noticed I was more determined and asked about the application, but I kept it vague. When I got the job offer, I accepted it and planned to use the extra income to create some distance from Jack's financial obligations. Jack was so thrilled about my new job, thinking it would help us save for a future together. I started saving money secretly, planning for a future that didn't revolve around Jack's family. I also decided to drop hints about Emily's possible move to see how Jack would react. He didn't seem too concerned, which just fueled my determination to take back control. I brought up the idea of us investing in a separate savings account, and Jack, although confused, agreed. He thought it was a good way to prepare for future family needs. I opened the account secretly and started funneling my savings away from Jack's influence. At the next family dinner, I mentioned my new job and the savings idea, and Jack seemed caught off guard, but happy. He didn't realize the full implications of what I was doing, and I'm hoping this will help me take back some control of my life. To answer a few questions, Jack and I haven't had any major fights since the one about the money. We're still on good terms, and he seems genuinely excited about my new job. Emily's job opportunity was just a rumor for now, and I haven't discussed it further with Jack. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.